I'm Jace. I'm the one of the co-founder for CreativesAtWork.
Yeah, I'm Fanny. We are from CreativesAtWork, and we're just trying to see if we can reach out to more people who are interested about freelancing. Hence, we started this podcast. We will invite freelancers or our partners who can tell us more about the gig economy, which is booming in Asia. And today, who do we have?
Today we are having Carl and Yen-Lyng. Yay!
Yeah, and they are freelancers in the media industry who has turned into partners with CreativesAtWork. So right now they help us to, work on projects and to see how we can bring on more freelancers, to work on more jobs for our clients.
Okay, shall we get Yen-Lyng and Carl to introduce themselves?
Yeah.
A bit about yourself. What do you do?
Ladies first.
Well, when I freelance, I tell myself as business developer and marketing consultant. That's that word for it, yeah. But basically, the next question from people would then be like, so what do you actually do? And it's basically everything because it's such a wide scope, and there's actually no scope. It's mostly for smaller businesses and small businesses who don't might not necessarily need even such a big team or a full-time person to come in. They cannot pay a full-time pay, but they still need help in terms of maybe meeting clients, maybe in developing more proposals, coming up with a marketing strategy. Mm-hmm. So they need someone to fill in the gap. Yeah, but they don't have a very big gap to fill.
Yeah. So Yen-Lyng, you were working full-time before you turned into freelancers. Yes. So what made you decided to go into freelancing?
The company didn't need me anymore. Because I think it's precisely that small company did not have such a huge hole to fill, and there was no point in them retaining me as a full-time staff. And of course, they relocated after that, so that was an additional prompt, I think, for them. And at that time, it was either for me to go and look for a full-time job or for me to explore freelancing. And I was very lucky to be offered a freelance gig that could allow me to, I won't say entirely turn me into freelancing, but I thought that I could maybe explore this for a bit. And 2-3 years down, I'm still here. And I think if you ask me to turn back now, I won't. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Carl, how about you?
I'm a millennial. Yeah, I must lay it out there. So I'm young. I'm a filmmaker, and I've been freelancing for a bit since my art school days. So yeah.
How long have you been freelancing?
And what do you freelance as?
Okay. I've been freelancing for 5 to 6 years. But if you're saying that seriously, super serious about it, I would say after school, 2 years. I freelance as there's no actual term for it. So I freelance as the reason that I call myself a filmmaker instead of like a director, producer, a DP is because I think that I can do not say all of them, I can do some of them, and I can do them okay. So I can direct, I can produce, I can edit, I can shoot. But if you ask me, oh, are you a post-production producer? I'm not but I can edit, so probably an editor. So I like to call myself a creative Swiss knife. So I can do things that are creative, but not necessarily to the best. And I'm currently trying to find it right now.
But you're young, so you still have time.
So you have not worked for anybody before since you graduated?
I have, but not full-time.
Okay. So you have always been freelancing. So how do you know freelancing is the right path for you?
I guess started when I was younger. I went through the route that my parents wanted me to have. I knew that I wanted to do films, but as Singapore is like typical Singapore parents mindset is like, oh, you want to do creative, you want to be an artist, it's not gonna work. So I followed their advice. I went to do accounting. I did okay at it. I know, right? Me accounting, I really. I did okay at it. I did okay at it. But I cannot imagine that one day. One day I cannot imagine myself. Like after 1 year plus of doing it, I start thinking like, wow, if I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, no matter how much I earn, it's not worth it. It's just boring. So I found myself in class doing more and more filmmaking stuff than doing the actual accounting work. That's when I know that I had to drop out. But don't drop out, guys. Don't drop out. We are not Bill Gates or we are not Steve Jobs. Shouldn't drop out. It's a dumb decision.
So do you regret dropping out?
No. Yeah, but like there's a difference between dropping out from normal school over Harvard. That's the difference. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So how do you guys choose your projects now that you are freelancers?
Now because it's quite full, right? the plate. I
But
don't
when
have
you
a
are
lot
not
of
full,
chance.
do you, like as the project comes along, what kind of criteria do you place on the projects that you accept? Like is it like first come first served until your plate is full? Or
It used to be when I first started out. It was like that, and so actually I still have a client who I undercharge because he was my like first or second client or something like that. But I just feel bad dropping him. But it's really not worth my time. Because he is my first client, so I can't drop him until I can find a better alternative for him. But right now it's really, I think I'm lucky to know people or work with people who work on things that I like anyway. Yeah, because they're friends, but a lot of it's still through word of mouth, and people know what I do. So it's they will. It's more like we'll be talking about what you want to do. You know, hey, how about this idea? Then okay, let's do this together. Yes, yeah. So I guess it's handpicking that way, lah. But it's not like they come to us. There's not a huge plate in front of me to choose from, but when I see an opportunity, I'll go for it. How about you?
I think I have at least one client that I also undercharge, simply because I enjoy working with that client and I want to maintain that relationship. But not to sound like a show off. But as you grow as a freelancer, your rates grow as well, and then you know that certain clients can't afford you anymore. But I don't want to drop that client because I like working with that client and I want to maintain that relationship. Like in fact, that client is no longer like a client; it's like a friend. So yeah, I do have that client. I do not have the luxury to be super overbooked, but enough to be fat lah. Choosing clients wise, I think I'm okay. I think right now, like as I mentioned, like I'm quite a generalist. So if the project is interesting and it pays, I think I will take it. Yeah.
Have you ever thought of expanding your team?
I never okay, here's the thing about me. Like I know that a lot of filmmakers, right, like they will after a few years, especially directors, right, after a few years, then they will build their production team and stuff. I guess I never felt that I need like a production house thing. I guess I could, but I feel that I prefer to work as a freelancer, as an individual, and then I will get help from my freelancer friends if I need. So for example, if I'm directing a project, I need a camera guy, I will just find that camera guy.
So, how has working with creative, or rather, my question should be, how is the working relationship with creative at work? So, that is first question. Second question is, has it actually helped you to progress in your freelance career after working with this?
first. Because I have a lot to say.
Because ladies first. Yeah. For him, it's always ladies first.
Biased because the first job that I talked about when I came out was from you guys. So yeah, that's right. So it was. I mean, it was like opening doors for me, lah. Because actually, I always wanted to be a freelancer. I think ever since I was very, very young. I know I want to be my own boss, lah. I cannot listen to people. Have my own ideas. But I went to film school, and I realized I'm not that creative. I'm enough for me to fit into film school, but not enough to like say,
Be an award-winning director.
yeah, I wasn't technically strong. Ask me to operate cameras, I have to think very long. I can't even remember certain things on how to operate it right now. So I thought, I should leave that to people who can do it better. But actually, when I was in school, I thought that of all the I would say the credit role lah, that you want to see yourself in, I want to be executive producer.
The one that's making the money, right?
You 出钱就好
Or losing the money.
So I know who to look for the next time.
But at the same time, that's like the pinnacle of where you can go in filmmaking, right? So, but because I felt that I couldn't go into filmmaking because I didn't have the talent, I stepped out. And that's where I went to like business development and marketing, because it's sort of straddling between the two if you really think about it. And Creatives at Work sort of, that first few projects lah, sort of brought me back into it a little bit. So it's there where I sort of carved out the little niche that I have for myself. I'm still sort of carving out and trying to streamline that niche a lot more. But does that answer your question? Because I forgot what the question was. How does working with creatives work? Yeah, so basically that's the whole journey.
How has it helped your career? Yeah, but I guess you also answer it, right? In
Yeah,
the sense
that's
that because
right. It's about
it is
streamlining
about-
because I think a lot of people who I talk to, right, that why I advocate freelancing so much right now is because when I say I want to be a freelancer, but I didn't think I have the skills for it. And I always heard I went for a lot of motivational talks last time lah. One of them said that, it's not that you don't have the talent, it's just that you have to brand yourself, right? You have to tell your story, right? You just have to find that talent. He knew of one kid, who could speak 12 languages fluently. He's a natural linguist, but he felt that he had nothing. He had no talent because he didn't know how
To use it.
having 12 languages could help him. So it's just knowing your strengths and then, just doing what you love, finding someone to pay you to do what you love.
Yeah,
basically.
That's the Japanese thing.
Ikigai, right? Yeah. And so that's why if like I say, if you ask me to go back to doing a full-time job right now, I wouldn't. Yeah. Because there are business development jobs, there are marketing jobs, but they do not give you the same kind of freedom. They do not give you the same type of control that you want over the career that you have.
Okay. Carl, how about you?
Yeah, sorry. Actually, like you mentioned, like the full-time thing, right? Actually, I was thinking back that I was having flashback. Actually, I did have a full-time job after I graduated. I had, because it was so short that I forgot about it. I had
Is it internship? Does it
no. It's a full-time job. I was very lucky. I thought at least okay. Let me set the context straight. I thought I was lucky. Fresh out of film school. Then I applied a few jobs because I want a stable life, right? So I applied as a director for an agency, and I got it.
Oh, yeah, I
But
think you
after
mentioned
working for like a few months and flying is a job that requires me to fly for overseas shoots, I realized that I was receiving the short end of the stick lah, basically. And I'm glad that I realized it so soon, and I'm glad that I left that company so soon because of my experience as a freelancer. I knew that those are not reflective of the rates that the company was earning. So essentially the business strategy was very smart. A very lean team, but they were earning a lot of money with that lean team. So I left. I was like, it didn't reflect. So I left.
Okay. and then that's where you decided to go into freelancing to keep all the money to yourself.
Go back to freelancing. Yes. Okay lah, not really lah. And the ability to choose and the ability to do my creative projects lah. I guess that's what freelancing is about for me.
Right. But I'm sure as a freelancer, you face a lot of challenges as well.
Oh man.
So, especially for Singapore, because I think freelancing is it's still in a very nascent stage in Singapore as compared to places like, for example, the US and all this. So, what are some of the challenges that you faced when you first started out as a freelancer?
I guess the first step, like in Singaporean context, so for the overseas friends that are watching, it may not apply to you, but the Singaporean parent, oh my God. Like every Chinese New Year dinner, they'll be like, so what exactly do you do? What is a freelancer? You know, like, so are you your own boss? Do you have CPF? Do you have benefits? And I guess I went through, the first step was my father. My father was very against the idea. He was like, oh, no, you're not going to feed yourself. It's a terrible job. So why don't you just be a normal person and then just go
Be an accountant.
be an accountant? Yeah. So that I think that's one of the hardest challenges to get approval of your family. Even after joining art school, right, my dad was still like, I don't think you should do this, you should really rethink your career and stuff. But I guess time proves. So, yeah.
So now is your father more receptive, or does he understand?
No, he my father is happy with my progress right now.
Tolerates.
It's the right word. He's happy with my progress, but now he's complaining about other things like, why are you getting married? Why you work so much?
But you are what?
Not really.
Not yet.
Still far.
You can tell him time proves.
Okay, I guess. So, you?
Mine, I mean, in the more practical sense, it's like having to deal with finances. CPF, it was something that I never quite liked anyway, for lack of a better word. So, without CPF, I'm like, okay lor, yeah. They're not deducting 14% of my pay, is fine. And I've always been good at saving. So that's good for me as well. It doesn't really make a dent in my plans. But I think it's learning how to run your own business, even though I say that I like to run my own business, right? But it's a lot of practical problems that you have to think about, like, again, finances. Right now, the headache for me is like sorting out invoices, and if I register myself as a sole proprietor, an LLP, and a banking problem is giving me, I have to set up another corporate account. All these are the very minor headaches that put a real chink in your plan. They really throw a spanner in your plan. So actually all this, like, my parents, they will worry, but I've always been sort of a rebel in my family. So it is sort of like my family, like, they will nag, but they expect it and I expect it. So that is negligible. But my dad still asks me. Like, he will still ask me if I stay at home and work for a couple of days in a row, a couple of days in a week. The question is like, you have no more projects Then you need to pay. He's retired and he doesn't work anymore. So, but he will still ask me, you need money or not? I can give you money. I was like, you have no money, you're already complaining. But I'm still okay. I just prefer work at home some days. So it's I don't know why he doesn't get the concept that I can work anywhere I want.
I think parents are still okay. The worst are the taxi drivers. Like, every time if I get onto a cab and then in odd hours, right, and then, because we work in this industry, so we dress shabbily. Every time they'll ask me, so what do you work as? 没做工今天做什么工? Sometimes I'll say, yeah, off, 今天 off. Or I'll say, like, I sick. Then after that, I'll tell them, I'll tell them, 我是 admin, 我做 admin, 我做 sales. Because if you tell them freelancer, they wouldn't understand. I mean,
But I don't know, for me, it sort of works.
And then there was one time where I mean, me and my husband, we were doing some applications lah. So we had to fill in to the property agent, right? Put in, you know, that. But
So
that time I
occupations.
was a freelancer. I was really just freelancing. So there was no occupation to tick as a freelancer. So he said, 这个 box is odd job labourer. So I already tick that box And then after that I met MDA, the Media Development Authority in Singapore. So I told them this. And then I'm so happy, like, 5 years, 5, 6 years now,
It's better.
it's better. People are starting to recognize freelancers in Singapore.
Do you feel there's a difference if from you being a freelancer and you being a business owner now?
I
Yeah,
never been a freelancer
actually,
before. Yeah. I've always been employed, but just in different capacity.
there's a difference. I think when you're a freelancer, you have more freedom. But when I mean, right now we are running Creatives at Work. I really look at Creatives at Work as an entity. I work for Creatives at Work. Because Creatives at Work ultimately, it's not helmed by, I mean, of course, it's founded by Jace and me, but it will never be forever by us. It is an entity, and it will have to be passed to somebody besides us who is more capable to run it if such an opportunity arises. So I really treat it as a baby lah, that, I'm just holding it for the moment and helping it to build out to fullest potential. So it's a different, but when I'm working for myself as a freelancer, it's okay lah, Yeah.
I think the
Pros and
accountability
cons,
is
yeah.
different. I think the
Yeah.
accountability will be different, and how you actually manage it will be very different if you're managing it in your personal capacity versus if you're managing it from an entity perspective. Yeah. So I mean, personally for me, right, I'm actually okay lah. I have always been employed, right? It's just that now it's under Creative at Works, but previously it's under other organizations. The greatest things that I see in the last 5 years since the founding of Creative at Works is really the acknowledgement of freelancers. Right. Back when we first started, right, everybody, I have clients, when we go to clients, say, oh, I run a network of freelancers called Creative at Works. Then people, what is freelancers? You mean your company don't employ anybody?
Yeah.
Just you? You mean just you? So I got a lot of, question like this, like, how do you run a company without anybody inside the company, just you, right? So a lot of question marks. And then what is freelancers? Oh, you mean they are freelancers? Graphic designers are freelancers. Then we have a lot of explaining to do. Right? We have to assure our client to say, no, these are Bonafide, companies lah, right? Those are creative professionals. And anyway, if you work with agency, the chances are they are also working
may,
through.
yeah.
You may, be working with the same group of people as well. So but till today, right, there's really a vast improvement, right? I think right now, most of the time, our client already know what is a freelancers, right? Without us having to say it, right? And in fact, some of them actually appreciated, right, that the very fact that we have been reaching out to this group, right, and the whole concept of using freelancers to work on their project is no longer a novelty, right? They kind of acknowledge that there is this need, right, of this group of people that they can actually leverage on in terms of helping to scale out their creative, I would say, creative business part of it lah. Yeah. So that's really a huge improvement. And then back then where, it's not something that talks about by the government, but now if you look at it, right,
Yeah.
NTUC, RMDA, MOM, right?
They're all trying to push it, right?
Yeah, people are trying to not to push, but push is one, but second is really to actually see how we can actually improve on the current situations and make it a viable career lah. So from a protection perspective, from a sourcing perspective, from even a pure acknowledgement perspective lah. Yeah, I think that kind of helps, to make this freelance career a much more enjoyable one. Yeah. So having been through it, right, now that you yourself is into it, what is the future do you see for this whole freelance, I would say, or rather the gig economy lah?
In general. you
In
mean?
general, for Singapore, right, at least.
Maybe a easier question to answer is I mean, we are in touch with a lot of schools because of the grad shows and things like that. Whenever we talk to the graduating students, they fall into two camps. One camp is they want to, I mean, let's talk about polytechnics. Polytechnics are the after the high school, right? So one camp is they want to further their studies to get a degree in university. Another camp is they want to be freelancers. I mean, it is literally 50-50%. So it seems like the fresh grads now, they don't want to look for a full-time job. So what do you think? Do you think this is reflective of what's coming, especially in the media sector in Singapore? Are we expecting a lot more freelancers?
I think it's a long time coming. Like, I think all creatives who go into art school or media school wants to be a freelancer. It's just that maybe in the past, like the general industries, they didn't know that that was a viable option. You know, in our minds, freelancers were always the ones who couldn't make it. You know, there were a lot of misconceptions about it. You know, don't have a steady job, don't have a steady income. You know, you're gonna earn peanuts and everything. But now that it's been more proven and there's more support out there, both from tangible support from the government to just people, society just acknowledging it more. It's become okay to say that I want to be a freelancer. In the past, it's which company do you want to join, you know. But now that you know that you can be your own boss, I mean, who doesn't want, especially younger ones. But at the same time, having come from, an employed status, I think it is a good experience for young people to go through being employed. Being told what to do and to do it.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yes, because I think a lot of us do want to become freelancers because we don't like being told what to do. I mean, I can relate, right? But at the same time, it's the respect of elders, it's the respect of people who have been through things that you haven't been through before. And knowing that there's wisdom over there. And learning from that. I think a lot of them come up. Of course, we see in the news, in the media, a lot of success stories of young people who never went through that process but still became real successful. I think that's a lie. I mean, it's not a lie. People have done it. But it's literally
The chances
one
of
out of
success,
billion.
Yeah, one.
No, they probably went through hardship, but they sugarcoat it.
Yeah. And we just like to see the cartoon version of it, the caricature of it. So it's not truthful of life.
Yeah, I also feel that for younger freelancers, it's always good for them to actually experience corporate life. I mean, especially for Singapore, because the truth is in Singapore, most likely you're working on corporate jobs versus
Your own
film,
film,
TV, so the bread and butter of the industry is really corporate work, right? So if you want to work on corporate work, but yet you doesn't know how a corporate in Singapore functions, right? I think that is going to be very difficult, right? And that's one. And second, it's always good, when you're younger, to actually start building out contacts, because that's how you actually start your business, right? If you have no contact, no connections, it's very tough unless you have a very rich daddy or you come from a rich family where the connection, the relationship are already there. You just need to kind of pull a bit of string and then you get what you want.
I think it's not only the connections, but it's how to communicate.
Present.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you think, Carl,
Of what?
about the future?
I think the future is very bright as long as we keep moving this direction. With companies like CreativesAtWork, it gives us hope that, there's someone fighting for our rights. Like even for NTUC, they're also fighting for our rights. I think it's good, but we must paint, like jumping on what she said, we must paint a realistic picture of what freelancing is. I think freelancing is tougher than fully as a full-time employee. And I only work for 3 months and I'm a millennial. I cannot take hardship one. With that said, freelancing is harder. Because you need to manage your client, you need to manage your invoices, you need to manage your tax, you need to manage your own CPF, everything. And on top of that, if you're not getting representation in the union, you're not getting representation anywhere, it makes it harder. Like what you said, like for like the employment thing, the thing that you tick for the form, it makes it harder. So I cannot imagine what people went through 10 years ago.
Yeah. So one last question: if there's one value you think just only pick one value that you think all freelancers should cultivate. Okay, for me, I think it's reliable.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
because I mean we are coming from the perspective of CreativesAtWork, right? So we work with them and you have to be reliable. Your work, if it's not on par, you know, we can still explain, we can still work together, strive. But if you're not reliable, you disappear, you miss deadline constantly, it's very hard. Yeah.
For me, yeah, because I knew she's going to say that, so I had to choose that. So I'm choosing trust. I think to me, not only as a freelancer, I think, you know, for the client side as well, you know, people who are using the service, you know, or people who's providing the service, right? Or in any business sense, I think trust is the most important thing. And it's the most difficult, it's the most easy things to break, but it's the most difficult thing to build up.
Value. I would say those two are very important. But as a personal point of view, I think willingness to learn. Because it puts you in a it requires you to be humble. It requires you to always be improving. Yeah, you fall down, doesn't matter, you know, you stand up again. I think a lot of people right nowadays, especially, I mean, the next generation, even though it's not that far away from me, they're always very self-righteous. I think that leads to a lot of issues. If something goes wrong, it's not my problem. It's the problem of the society. Yeah, you know, it's not me. Yeah, I can't help it. Then everything you do, it will affect everything you do. You just won't try your best because you keep thinking that I can't help it. It's like that. That's my limit. Yeah, you never grow as a freelancer or as a person, just in general.
Yeah.
Okay, Carl?
Hard work. I learned it the very, very hard way. I thought that, you know, just because you go through film school, just because you know a little bit about film, you can be a director immediately. You can just jump straight, you know, like disrespect the generations before you. That's not how it works. Hard work is what works. Like 10 years, 20 years, then you will reach where you want to be. But in between is all hard work and sweat. So the picture that we want to paint to the rest of the up and coming freelancers is that no matter what you do, hard work pays off.
Yeah. Agree.
Yep.
I don't know whether you guys ever faced this, but last time, sorry, just one last point. Last time when I was in my graduation show, I remember clearly one guy, I remember the company's name, so he came up to me and then, we started talking about what you do and what, what you're looking for. So I very honestly said, you are just in there to learn. I can't quite remember my answer, but it's basically I don't expect to jump up into some great position. I go inside there to learn, it's an internship, fine, any position will do. Because I don't know about what you do. I don't know your company. And having just graduated, of course, I don't think I have the skills, all the skill sets you need. And then he was very surprised. He was like, you're the first one I met who says that. Yeah. But I thought having just graduated, that was the case lah. But I don't know whether you go to graduation shows nowadays and you see, that kind of, the one where people come out and they expect to be.
Yeah. Actually, they run their grad shows like small businesses now. Each of the booths are like small business. I think young people nowadays are more savvy. But back when I was with my production houses, every year we have like tons and tons of interns. We like buckets of 10s and 20 of interns coming through our production house for 3 to 6 months. That is the difference. Those that are in university, majority of them, 90% of them, wants to be directors. When you want to graduate, I want to be director. Yeah, but those from polytechnics, because they are more hands-on, you're like, I want to be camera assistant. A bit more self-checked. I think I'm not sure why, but those that are aiming for going to graduate with degrees, right? They all want to be directors, but it's not good. You're not going to be a director when you first come out. The life is not like that. What You have to start from bottom.
I think that has to do with the reality check of the schools lah. I think the schools themselves, I think right now, because all schools want to show that they have the best students, right? So they want to put out the best students. So, from day one, they could have already been saying, oh, you are that good. You come to this course,
Yeah,
you are so
maybe.
good, right? And then therefore you are a something something. You are a something something, right? So hence I think the students also have these expectations. But I do agree, that there is a need for graduates, right, who want to go into media industries to understand the industry first, right? We are very different. I feel, okay, personally for myself, I come from the finance industry, which is totally different, right? So at finance industry, I would say is fairly established compared to Singapore. Sorry, it's fairly established in Singapore, right? So hence, I think the reality, what you learn in school is not so different, right, outside, right? So debit and credit still works, right? So the changes that you expect to your curriculum is not like huge, right? So most of the time, the things that you learn from school is applicable and is enough for you to bring into your working career. But I must say this is very different. I mean, when I come into the media industry, I must say this is very different for the media industries, right? Because it is craft based, because it is creative based. So and technology changes so fast, right? So a lot of things, the trend is very different, right? So maybe what you learn in school may not be applicable by the time you are ready to graduate. And on top of that, guys have to go through NS, right? So there is again, this gap already. So from that perspective, I think, you have to have an open mind that you have to relearn all your skill sets again when you are out into the real world lah, in that sense. Yeah. Okay, so as a summary, so we can sum it out already, right? What we have just discussed. So I mean, in my perspective, right, what I'm hearing is, freelancing is definitely a growing industry in Singapore. More and more people are going to are going to choose this as their career, and it is possible to be a viable career provided that you work hard, provided
You are reliable.
that you are reliable.
You're open-minded and trustworthy.
No, I think we all encourage people to go freelancing. It's
Yeah.
just that we also very practically, because we are freelancers, or we work with freelancers very
Yeah.
closely, fellow freelancers also,
Yeah.
and you guys work with them on a daily basis. It's not all is rosy.
Yeah. So I think there is a similarity between freelancers as well as entrepreneurs, right? Because it's almost the same, right? As an entrepreneur, you run your company, but as a freelancer, you also run your company, right? So in fact, actually, freelancers are entrepreneurs themselves as well. So the challenges, are almost quite similar in that sense, lah.
Okay, so you guys are freelancers, but you guys are also freelancers working for Creatives at Work, helping us to manage other freelancers. So how has it been?
I think on the positive light, it gives us empathy, right? Empathy, towards the freelancers. But we must keep it in check lah. As much as we feel for the freelancers, we also must think for the company. So there's always two sides of the coin. And with that said, the experiences gained from managing the freelancers help us in our freelance career. At least for me, yeah.
I would say it does help in empathy, but because of the role that I play, or the niche that I have lah, which is business development, right? In a lot of companies that I go to, this is the role that I play already. I'm basically a part of the company. And sometimes I have to play the role of the stand-in boss to make decisions. That is not the issue. But sometimes it's just different jobs might require different levels of commitment, simply because the boss maybe does not want you to take that level of responsibility. So I'm fine with it as well. It's like, fine, you don't need me to make hard decisions. That's great. But for me, it lends to my job of communicating to both sides easier. It makes it easier to communicate, to both the company, in this case, Creatives at Work and the freelancer. Because I myself, as a freelancer, I hire freelancers to help me as well. So it's playing multiple roles lah, but it's something that I'm used to at least. Yeah.
Okay, so just one last question before we go. What would you tell your younger self?
Oh, I didn't think about it. Let me think about this first. What would I tell my younger self?
Be patient, be humble, and things will come.
Can I just ask, right, your younger self, how young do you think that younger self is?
Probably roll back like 5 to 8 years ago.
Be patient is a very important thing that I think I would like to tell myself if I had the chance. It was always it's always the race to go to the next level, a race to grow up, a race to start doing something, you know. How come other people are doing it already, I'm not, you know. As I said, there's a lot of stories out there of the young people who achieved. I have to say, I love Mark Zuckerberg, no matter the things that's going on about Facebook and him right now. He is somebody who I really look up to. But he also puts in a lot of disillusions into a young mind. So I think, yes, you have to be patient. Things don't have to come overnight. You're not a failure if you don't achieve certain things by the time you're 21 years old. You know, so
Yeah. I think once like what she said, like I think one, from my perspective, is one's career should be based on one's failure. The lessons you learn from the failure, it shouldn't be based on your success. Because the moment you start thinking about how much success you have, you become drunk on it. And then you stop learning, you stop listening. Because the ego gets in. And I think not only that, like my generation, we have the digital, we grow up with digital, so there's this sense of instant gratification, and there's this sense of wow, everything's so easy, you know, social media, everything's perfect, but you must see the imperfections in order to really learn.
Actually, for me, now that I look back, right, you know, what I want to tell my younger self, which is not too long ago, was I wish I have actually studied less. I think I studied too much, trying to get that perfect score, that I actually miss out quite a fair bit in terms of, you know, traveling, in terms of, you know, just having fun. I think I was caught into that whole Singapore society or education system thing, right? That you know, you just I think for me, I need to study hard because I do a lot of drilling, right? Which, you know, looking back, this is not the 21st century skill sets that you need to have, right? But during my time, you know, that worked perfectly well, right? You know, you just need to ace that exam, right? But most of the time, you know, whatever that you ace during the exam probably are not applicable, right? So the application part is actually, I think, is kind of missing, you know, during my education time. If I could go back, I probably would enjoy my life more than to spend a lot of time on studying. Well, but although I enjoy it as well.
For me, it's do more of what makes you happy. Yeah, I was unhappy for quite some time when I was stuck in like jobs I didn't really like, or doing things that are pleasing other people but not me. But I will go back and tell myself, that my younger self, that, you know, you have to do more things that you really like. Yeah.
Okay,
I
great.
think we have very different lives. I think.
Yeah.
No, because
It's rushing.
if you guys
Yeah.
gave that same advice to my younger self, I would have been like a hobo and not do anything at all. 'Cause,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yay. So thank you for tuning in. Another episode for the Freelance Exchange. So subscribe to iTunes and leave a review.
So subscribe to our YouTube page and leave a comment, because we want to hear what you think. Let us know the questions or the freelancer you want to hear from, and follow us at Creatives at Work on Facebook page and Instagram.
So join us next time for a brand new episode of Freelance Exchange. Until now, see you. Bye.